Good morning. Welcome back to the Dargon Den. Today we're going to talk about our first impressions of the new Unearthed Arcana Feats for races. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and join us. So, again, today we're going to talk about Unearthed Arcana Feats for races that just came out. We thought we'd just like to talk about our first impressions. So, Nate, take it away.
After reading through them, I actually kind of thought they're really interesting. A lot of times, a lot of my players seems that they will mostly ignore some of the features, but now it seems that a few of them are actually a little bit more interested because of this. I will start off and say, though, that I do have one issue. This is me. Is that they totally left out all their other side races. I know a lot of people don't really play them, but a lot of my members of my team do. We do have a Dragonborn and a Changeling. And so now they're kind of feeling a little bit left out. So it means I need to do some work and maybe give them a few things here and there. But besides that, just scrolling through, a lot of them look really interesting and fun. Probably one of my favorites, and I think this was in other D&Ds. Chris, you can tell me if I'm wrong, I think. But like the dragon wings for Dragonborn, I've always wanted to play a Dragonborn that can fly. And that was a little bit more dragon-like. And I know that was something, I think it was in 4th edition. I could be wrong.
Could be. I've never played 4th edition, so I'm not sure. I know that there were I don't believe there were any playable Dragonborn in 2nd edition, which is the only other edition I've played.
Oh. Yeah, no, it sounds like it kind of seems like it'd make the Dragonborn a little interesting to say the least. But there's a lot of cool ones. I
More
mean,
Dragon for sure.
Definitely. And another thing that's kind of weird that Chris pointed out is that there doesn't seem to be very many for Elf. At any time, Elf can only have the option of 2, while most other races seem to have options of 3. Especially if you take into account for humans or half-elves, they seem to be able to dip into a lot of different things.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I guess that would be one question I would have is there a limit to how many of these you would use, or use these just like any other feat? You just add them as you, yeah, I guess, sorry, I just answered my own question. I guess you only add them when you would normally add a feat anyway, right? They're not like...
Well, some DMs do it that way. Some DMs also will then give you a feat between resting times, or if they feel that you have, really earned it, so to speak.
Okay.
I mean, some things I could imagine to be a little bit more difficult, but maybe if there was a high elf that kept on practicing teleportation and she wanted to get proficient in it, she might actually obtain the Fey teleportation feat. Just for free. I mean, she probably already have a spells that it gives you, but at least it's still they have that ability to do it.
So yeah, that's interesting. So like, when would you allow? Like, what would you require for somebody to just add one?
Well, generally I try talking to my players a lot. I think I'm very similar to Dawnforge Cast when he was talking about some of the features. Especially, oh gosh, I think they're like the ruin features or something like that, which I even felt were kind of lackluster. But let's take one of the easy ones, Forest Gnomes. During the off time, let's say that they're inside my big city and they're right now, my whole entire team decided to kind of bunker up for the winter and rest. If he said, I'm gonna go and I'm going to start volunteering with maybe some of the animal shelters or one of the farms, and I just want to work on my ability to communicate with animals and really get closer to them, trying to get back to my roots, I would probably grant him the critter friend.
Okay.
If he actually seemed like he stuck with that.
So, and what about Shay? Like, I use luck pretty often, so like, would you, so say for bountiful luck, which for those who haven't had a chance to look at this document yet, it's whenever an ally within that you can see within 30 feet of you rolls a 1 on a d20 for an ability check or a saving throw, you can use your reaction to let them re-roll. So as a halfling, you can normally re-roll anytime you get a 1, but this allows you to let your ally do it. without using your inspiration, which is kind of cool. But like, would you so like Shay uses her luck fairly often since I'm notorious for rolling bad. And I try not to abuse it. I try to only use it where I think she really should succeed. I try not to use it if I think a failure is really an option, you know, like if I could see where she might fail. But like, would you add that because I use it a lot, or would you just let me add it like any other feat? Oh, I'm at this level and now this is something that would be available to me.
That one, see, the more abstract ones are a little bit harder to explain why you actually gain them. I know some people say, like, for the luck feat, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll give them to people that gamble a lot, that actually require a field of luck. But you're right, your character really does do a lot of luck-based things. So I'd probably especially give it to you if I started seeing during our little break time that you're spending a lot of your time trying to help people around you, then that might make a lot of sense, which actually Shay pretty much does. She's
such a supporting character anyway that her desire to do this for somebody would be strong too. So it's kind of a really good fit for her.
Another way, actually, I was thinking too that kind of makes sense as well as Shay's an incredibly religious character. So maybe she spent some of her time even praying to the gods, saying, "Oh, you know, just give me the power to be able to help my friends." Maybe that could even be like a boon that they would grant to her.
Well, that's a cool idea.
You have to be really careful about how much you give away because you can make your characters so overpowered.
Yeah.
Already found some of
right. Well, and they have to use the new role. So it works like advantage or disadvantage. Like once well, not exactly like that, but it's, you know, if they do choose to take it and re-roll it, they got to use it. So
it's like the double was the two-handed feat when you have a chance to re-roll the hit die, and you have to use it, even if it's worse. But
so yeah, I was kind of intrigued by the all the halfling ones are pretty good. They're pretty cool. So we just talked about that one, but there's also Second Chance, which you get to increase your Dex, Con, or Charisma by 1 to the usual maximum of 20. And when a creature hits you with an attack roll, you can use your reaction to cause them to have to re-roll. And you can't do it. You can only do it once per activity cycle. So you'd have to take a long or short rest before you could use it again. So it'd be hard to get out of control with it. But it's pretty cool. I think that's kind of neat, having a chance to, you know, cause a different outcome.
There are a lot of cool ones though. Like another one I was looking at is Barbed Hide for Tieflings.
Barbed Hide.
One of your ancestors was a barbed devil or other spiky fiend. Barbs protrude from your head, and you gain the following benefits to increase your constitution or charisma. I don't know how the charisma works out. I think that would be something to really change by 1 up to a maximum of 20. As a bonus action, you can cause the small barbs to protrude all over your body and cause them to retract. At the start of each of your turns, while the barbs are out, you can deal 1d6 piercing damage to any creature grappling or a creature grappled by you. Your proficiency of intimidation skill, if you're already proficient in it, your proficiency is doubled, or for any checks you make with it. So, I mean, it's pretty cool. It's like a pufferfish. You literally become a pufferfish.
That is pretty cool. That is like a pufferfish. That's awesome. That is very cool.
I just kind of like the idea, like, though, because tieflings are supposed to be, well, some sort of humanoid that, there's actually different lores for it, but some sort of humanoid that made a pact with fiends long ago. I think it's kind of cool. It's actually bringing in more of the wide variety of fiends to kind of affect maybe the way the tiefling would be.
So, yeah. And I know you mentioned dragon wings earlier for the Dragonborn. Which does seem really cool, having that opportunity to fly and make that Dragonborn even more dragon-like. I think that's really neat.
That'd be a really fun one to do. I think that would also could be like a chance-based. I mean, I don't see any real way that you can give it to them, but I was reading this book series called, let's see if I can get the name, but I can't remember the name at all. But it was a dragon book that actually gave you the vision of the dragon. It was in the dragon's eyes instead of anything else. And you know, they go through their first part of life, but when their wings started to sprout, they got like these massive boils on their back where the wings were supposed to protrude from. And it was really painful to them. And then very slowly they'd come out and be kind of useless. And that'd be really fun to role play with a character who's really into it. First having this massive, very painful boils start to blister, and then having him to kind of change his arm around for it. And then when it comes out, it's just useless for like the first few months until he learns to strengthen his muscles. He would have to strengthen the wings and the bones. There has to be a lot going on. So for a while there, he would have to play as somewhat of a, probably even a weaker character than originally was, because he'd have to keep these really delicate things away from damage.
That's kind of cool, though. That's kind of a cool idea. There's a game I was listening to that's a Pathfinder game on podcast that I listen to, the Rusty Quill, and there's a character who's becoming a dragon, and so he keeps, you know, he's been growing some scales here and there, and it's been very subtle and slow, and I'm really curious to see where that goes in the story. But I kind of like that idea of things evolving throughout, so it's kind of neat. So that seems like a neat way to use the dragon wings, definitely.
That would be really cool.
Yeah. So
but to kind of wrap it up, though, this is a pretty good little set of feats. I wouldn't go for them, or I wouldn't stick with them for word, but it definitely gives a lot of interesting options, or maybe just inspiration to all your basic races. And I could even see some of these being used for the other races, such as changelings or Warforged, or even some of their stuff in Volos. Mm-hmm. But besides that, I mean, it seems leagues ahead of some of the other feats that were just recently put out on Unearthed Arcana. These ones seem like they're a little bit more useful, actually.
They're pretty cool. I like that they're racial, as opposed to based on your class. I think it gives you a little more broad, I guess, way to grow your character. It's pretty neat. And I have to admit that some of the feats are lukewarm, even in the book. There's a few that are really good. I guess maybe it's partially, you know, my shade vision of what I think fits for her, that there's not a whole lot of feats that I have really felt like, oh yeah, that's got Shay's mark on it. I'm going to make sure I pick this when I get the chance. But some of these would be cool because of the racial thing. I love the idea that, you know, you're getting a chance to add more on because of your race. And there's not a lot of that in the book. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I can definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, me too. Awesome. Well, I think that wraps up this episode of the Dargon Den.
It's really short.
If you enjoy this video, don't forget to show it some love. And we'd love to hear your comments and thoughts. What do you think of these feats? Or are there any that you like in particular? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends. And until next time,
get out and get gaming. One thing I also want to put out there too, I forgot to mention this, to anybody who doesn't know, this is Unearthed Arcana Feats for Races. Anybody who's kind of new to the scene, this is completely free. You can go online, just type up what I kind of said right there, and you can just download the PDF. Everything in Unearthed Arcana has actually been free, which is awesome.
We'll be sure to post the link below to where you can find that too. And if you check back there on a regular basis, they're always putting up new things. It's pretty cool.
So sorry about that. Anyways, thanks for watching.
Bye.